Okay, so on the screen here, you have a couple Banksy pictures. You all know him through social media, Twitter, Facebook, anything like that, or the news. He's usually painting political things or anything that most people know but don't want to believe. So the picture in the middle, you've got the classic Banksy character. Not many gradient colors, dark, and then you've got a white kind of bright dog barking. So if you didn't know this, Banksy was actually inspired by an American street artist who goes by the name of
Keith Haring. Who was he? Keith Haring was an American street artist, as well as a social activist for gay rights, HIV and AIDS, and underprivileged children. He used his art to express his opinions and spread awareness in a time of ignorance.
Why was he so influential? In 1989, Keith Haring founded the Keith Haring Foundation to support underprivileged children and spread HIV and AIDS awareness. He had art workshops with children, such as City Kids Speak on Liberty, where 1,000 kids collaborated on a project for the Statue of Liberty Centennial. He uses art to express his opinions on drugs, nuclear weapons, and AIDS, and many other things as well. He produced murals, sculptures, and paintings to benefit health centers and disadvantaged communities. He also created logos and posters for public service agencies. On the bottom, we see some pictures, and on the left, Ignorance Equals Fear is one of his art that shows the oppression of homosexuals and the fact that HIV and AIDS wasn't really known. So that's just showing that. Debbie Dick advocates for safe sex, and another one on the right is safe sex and just to practice it. And some of these public logos are Absolute Vodka, Lucky Strike cigarettes, and Swatch Designs.
So what did he believe? He believed the performance of painting was just as important as the painting itself. He advocated for the practice of safe sex. He thought that graffiti and art was a way to escape his ego, unlike most graffiti artists. And he believed art should be accessed by everyone, not just the wealthy. So with that in mind, he opened up the pop shop, and basically this was for the poor kind of people to purchase his art and designs, and it was a way for him to believe that everyone could purchase his art, not just people with all the big money. On the bottom, you've got a picture of him in the pop shop.
So these are pieces of his notable work. Crack is Whack shows his views on children and drugs as he painted these murals in schools. Radiant Baby shows the enlightenment of children and their innocence. On the left and bottom, it shows the unity shown by two people with a heart, and same for the other one, two people just hugging it out. But he was most notable for his chalk graffiti in New York subway stations, which later he also got arrested for. Some of his key figures in artwork were the baby, the animal, ignorance and fear, which showed, again, fear and sexual speak, Free South America, which showed his views on racist belief, Boxer in Berlin, See No Evil, and Dog in Spaceships, which showed his views on nuclear war and advocated against it.
Quick biographical facts. In 1958, he was born in Reading, Pennsylvania. At 15, he tried to go for a hippie look, doing many drugs and going to concerts with his friends. In 1976, he attended Ivy School of Professional Art in Pittsburgh, but he dropped out after 2 semesters due to the fact that he just couldn't venture out with his artistic style. And in 1981, he had his first sole exhibition at Westbeth Painter Space in Manhattan. But in 1988, he was diagnosed with AIDS, so the following year, in 1989, he founded the Keith Haring Foundation. Unfortunately, he died in New York City, in New York, on February 16, 1990, at age 31 from AIDS.
So here are some fun facts. Keith Haring was invited to paint a mural on the western side of the Berlin Wall in 1986. He got interviewed by the Rolling Stone magazine in 1989. There was a documentary made of him by Christina Clausen called The Universe of Keith Haring in 2008. He was inspired by Walt Disney, Dr. Seuss, Andy Warhol, Charles Schulz, and hip-hop music. He was best friends with Jean-Michel. He also ended up befriending Andy Warhol. And Google honored Haring with a doodle for his 54th birthday, which is featured on the bottom.
So his influence on society. Keith Haring revolutionized the way the world viewed HIV and AIDS, drugs, and art. At the time, HIV and AIDS, homosexuality, all those kinds of things, they were ignored. People looked the other way when they saw it. His art was recognized more after his death, like many artists, and his art appealed to many because it was not only simplistic, but understandable.
Deja vu. Haring's art may be seen today in the fashion of Forever 21's Artist series and other places in general. These pictures just show his art being put on clothing, and it's just like the art. It just portrays a bold type of style, and it's just fun. And finally, a quote by Keith Haring. All of the things that you make are a kind of quest for immortality. Because you're making these things that you know have a different kind of life, they don't depend on breathing, so they'll last longer than any of us will. Which is sort of an interesting idea, that it's sort of extending your life to some degree. Keith Haring.